I don't see a world where Georgia gets in, and that's simply because I think Georgia Tech upsets Georgia this year.
Hey everyone, I'm Emma here with Savannah. And after this past weekend, the SEC championship race has gotten really weird, especially with Alabama losing to OU. Texas is officially out after their loss to Georgia, but there are currently, I believe, four teams that can make it to the SEC championship game. So we're going to talk about that, talk about possible scenarios, talk about what it takes to get in for these four teams. So, Savannah, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I was doing some research before we hopped on, just trying to gather my thoughts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody is in control of their own destiny. Like, everybody needs something else to happen. I guess we should start off with the four teams are Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Those are the teams that have a chance at the SEC title. And like I said, no one controls their own destiny. So who do you think? Who do you think makes it? Who do you think has the best shot? What do you think about it, Emma?
I think Texas A&M has the easiest shot. They just have to beat Texas and they get in, and that'll be really interesting. The cool thing is nothing is decided until rivalry weekend's over. So we have all of the buildup through the whole regular season, and that's awesome that nobody can clinch it before then. Georgia, they don't play any more SEC games, so they are relying on other people to get them in. They would need Alabama to lose. Ole Miss needs a lot of things to happen for them to get in. Alabama, I think, has the second best shot probably to get in. They need a couple games to follow their way. But at this moment in time, Alabama is technically in the playoffs now, or they need to be in playoff mentality because they lose again at all, they're not making it to the national championship. So if they lose to Auburn, they don't make it even into the playoffs. I guess they could lose the SEC championship game if they make it to that, but they're in playoff mode now. It's like win and you're in. If you don't, oh well.
No, 100%. I think that Texas A&M, like you said, has the easiest shot. Is there a world where Texas beats Texas A&M? It is in DKR this year. And obviously Texas A&M kind of should have won that game last year in Kyle Field. They had obviously Texas, don't want to discredit it. Their defense had two very amazing fourth and goal line stops. But do you see the world where Texas pulls that one out?
I definitely do. I think Texas has the players to win. Georgia broke their spirits. I think they kind of gave up at the end of that game too. Arch Manning did not play well. The O-line has been an issue for them all year long, but they beat OU, who beat Bama. So it's like they have the players to win these big games. I also don't think A&M, well, if you look at who they've played in the SEC, they've kind of played the bottom half
Yeah.
as the standings stand right now. Texas is kind of in that middle zone. So they can beat A&M, but they could also lose greatly. So you see South Carolina, what they did to A&M in that first half. If they would have played for four quarters, they probably would have won that game. I think they needed one more score at any point or one takeaway or any like they could have won that game. So A&M is not invincible. So I do think Texas could win this game. I don't think they will. I'm kind of on the bandwagon with A&M right now and the Aggies and think they're going to make it all the way to the championship game and do pretty well in the playoffs, but they are technically untested with the top half of the SEC. Granted, they have that incredible win over Notre Dame, but that was at the beginning of the year. Notre Dame looks so different now.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame winning in a memorable fashion against Pitt helps Texas A&M's case for certain. But you're right. A couple weeks prior to that, Notre Dame definitely looked questionable. I think if you had to say who you think your two SEC championship can play teams are, who are they for you at this point?
I'm still riding A&M and Alabama. I think Alabama, how they responded to the loss against Florida State, went on to beat four ranked opponents, got through that crazy gauntlet end of September through October, beat LSU. They fell short to OU, but they had three turnovers and a missed field goal if one of those things would have went their way, they would have won that game, or they should have won that game. And all of the stats said they were winning that game. So this is a very good team who played their worst game. It is a team that does not turn the ball over, turned it over 3 times. Talty is awful. He is not. I don't know what's going on, but, like, it was, like, 30 yards, and you can't make a 30-yard field goal, and I the whole time when he was gearing up to do that, I was like, "Can we just go on 4th down?" I feel more comfortable getting whatever, it might have been a first down or the touchdown at that point than having Talty kick this ball and, hindsight 2020. But that really needs to be worked out, especially after losing Will Riker, who we had forever, who was Mr. Reliable, who I would put all my money and just say, let him kick, let him kick, let him kick, we'll win. But yeah, that was rough. But I think they will respond to it. They won in the stats, except for turnovers. This is a very good team. So I do think it'll be Alabama and A&M. I think Texas is kind of done. I think they broke their spirits losing to Georgia. It seemed like it in the back half. They might come out. I mean, it's rivalry weekend. You never know what's going to happen. Auburn is going to look like a national champion contender because they're playing Bama, especially at their home. So it is not going to be an easy game. But if they stay focused, they should win. Georgia is the one who could get in with tiebreakers. I don't know about Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't see a world where Georgia gets in, and that's simply because I think Georgia Tech upsets Georgia this year. And I know that that's not an SEC game by any means and doesn't matter in terms of the SEC championship, but it doesn't look good either. So, in order for Georgia to reach the SEC championship, Auburn has to beat Alabama or Texas has to beat Texas A&M or Ole Miss has to beat Mississippi State and then Georgia wins the three-way tie based off of their SEC winning percentage. Um, I think the most likely of those scenarios is Ole Miss beats Mississippi State and then they win the tiebreak. But kind of like you said, I see a world where Auburn gives Alabama a run for their money in Jordan Hare. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. We saw it a lot during the Gus Malzahn era, and last year, quite frankly, Auburn should have beat Alabama as well in Tuscaloosa. You can't give up 4th and 47 million trillion yards. I know that's not what it actually was, but it may as well have been.
Yeah.
So I do see a world where that happens. I think Cam Coleman is one of the best receivers in college football at this point. So if Auburn's quarterback, who I don't think is as good, but if he can find Cam Coleman downfield, there's definitely a chance for Auburn to upset Alabama. I don't know.
No, I definitely think they can, which is why I'm worried because again, they always look like the national champion
Yes.
against Alabama. They always, but we get everyone's best ball. And you know what? Alabama loses to OU by whatever, 2, 3 points. And it's like, wow, they're the worst team in the league. No, we're not. Let's not erase all of the amazing things we've done this season. It hasn't always looked pretty. But when Kalen DeBoer was coaching at Washington, those were one score games. Like he never has blown anybody out at any point. Well, he has a few times against like lower teams, but against the big games, it's close.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of that this is what our life is like now. Also, I think this is just like the current state of college football. If Ohio State and Oregon and Indiana had to play the amount of teams that we play in the SEC with the crazy, incredible players that are on these teams, they're records might look a little bit different. You don't know. That's why we play games and that's why we see in the playoffs who the number 1 team in the country is. And that's why you have to make sure your team is healthy and that's why you have to remember that everyone remembers November and that is the most important thing for your record because it is the most recent. So, it is really interesting, but I'm still putting my balls in the court of A&M and Alabama. I trust Alabama to recover.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I think that Texas A&M makes it too. Obviously, they have the easiest path. Shoot, my other team, what if something crazy happens like Ole Miss reaches the SEC championship? I don't know that it happens. I think that Lane Kiffin is actually a very good coach in the sense that like he won't let his team be distracted by whatever he's doing behind the scenes in terms of the coaching carousel. I really do. And I think a lot of coaches are good at that. But I think it's also about the players. Like, do the players let that get to him? They have this, like, looming, "Will he leave? Won't he leave?" thing.
They need a couple upsets to fall their way. They have to beat Mississippi State, who can punch back. I mean, and they're gonna show up for that game. That's their Super Bowl. Texas has to beat A&M. Auburn has to beat Alabama. I think there's a couple other things that have to happen as well, to get that tiebreaker percentage, but I mean, anything can happen. Last year, rivalry weekend was crazy, and I'm expecting the same to be this year. Whether the results fall the way we think they will or not, all these games are going to be incredible to watch. So I am excited. But if I had to put money on it, which I don't do, I would say A&M and Bama.
Okay. Yeah, if I was putting no, when I put money on it,
There you go.
I
You put the money on it.
yeah. I'll be putting my money probably on those 2 also, and then I'll do a for funsies $5 bet on, like, Ole Miss making it. That's probably what I would do. Okay, so let's say Texas A&M and Alabama make the SEC championship. Who is your SEC champion if those are the 2 teams in the championship?
I mean, I still pick Alabama just because 'cause they've been the most battle tested. They've figured out ways to win. I know Marcel Reed has been amazing, but Alabama has seen those this year. They've seen great running games. They've seen great defenses playing Missouri and OU. That was a sensational defense. They've seen Georgia's defense. So they know what these top caliber teams in the SEC look like and what it feels like on the field, and A&M just hasn't had that much experience. Granted, coming back from that deficit shows me they have a lot of heart. They're not going to give up. They're not going to say, "Oh, 27 points down, going to turn it in." No, they're going to fight. So I think these are two teams that will fight, fight, fight. But I am still going to put it in the court with the team that has done more this season in regards to beating top caliber teams.
If Alabama wins the SEC championship, does Texas A&M still make the college football playoff?
Oh, absolutely. Especially say they lose to Texas or something, a one-loss Texas A&M will make the college football playoffs. A one loss from the SEC championship will maybe even get a bye week at that point because of all they've done this season. If they go 12 and 0 in the regular season, lose a game in the SEC, I think they still get the 4th seed and make it to the playoffs easily. Then it kind of shakes out what's going to happen with the rest of the SEC. I could see the SEC getting 4 or 5 teams in, depending on how the rest of the conferences shake out, how the G5 shakes out. So it is going to be interesting. This has been a really fun year, I will say.
If that's how it shakes out, Alabama wins, Texas A&M loses the SEC championship, those 2 teams, I agree, are absolutely in. Who's your 3rd SEC team that's in and why?
Georgia, easily, unless they lose to Georgia Tech, and then I would put Ole Miss over them. But right now, Georgia, I think, has beaten the right teams at the right time. They're peaking at the right time. The eye test on them looks sensational. They looked really good against Texas. And Kirby Smart in his interviews, you can just tell that he loves this team. And even if it's like minute things that they need to change, they go in and they do it and they fight and they make the other team quit. Like, this is a great Georgia team. It might not be his best Georgia team, but he loves it and he loves these players. And it seems like they've all bought into him and the system. And I think they can make a deep run in the playoffs. So I definitely think Georgia, then Ole Miss, and then we'll see if we can sneak another one in.
I think if a league gets 5 teams in, that's a surefire bias. And that's fine. I'm not gonna say it is or it isn't or it matters or it's not, but I definitely think that portrays an image to every other conference for sure.
Oh,
But
yeah, I get it that for sure. But then you look at like a 10-2 team from the ACC who's had a really down year. You look at a 10-2 team from Big 12, and it's just like I don't think they're the same in a way. And I think Notre Dame would have to be out for them for the SEC to get 5 teams in, and I just don't think that they will at this point. But I think if any conference is going to do it in the near but distant future, it would be the SEC.
absolutely, no doubt in my mind. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I'm excited for the last 2 weeks of college football. I'm going to the Eastern Illinois game. I'm really excited to have fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
Love that.
what about you?
I think you said it best. It matters how you play in November, and there's nothing better than rivalry week in November. So I can't wait to see how it all shakes out. Can't wait to see how the SEC chip shakes out. Can't wait to see how the SEC does against their rivals outside of their conference. That's what I'm most looking forward to. But that is us just talking about the SEC championship and who we think's in, who we think's out. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. That is us signing off of SEC stuff.